I'm sure all of us remember global chat inside a Clash of Clans, right? Oh, the days of creeps pretending they were 18 plus girls who wanted your phone number, as well as a place where you could readily recruit people who were looking for a clan while socialising with a bundle of crazy hooligans. Although removed due to blatant and understandable security flaws and the fact that Supercell would have to hire a massive team of multilingual moderators to police the global chats around the world, its removal itself has brought up possibly one of the most confounding issues regarding starting a new clan inside a Clash of Clans. Whilst finding people communicating with them was easy, nowadays, in spite of the many additions Supercell has made to Clash of Clans to ease the burden of recruitment, building a good clan from scratch without many friends by your side seems impossible. But how did this come to be? How did the removal of global chat prompt all these complications with running a modern day Clash of Clans clan? Join me, for today we wade the waters of the worst update Clash of Clans ever received. One of the first obvious issues that emerged thanks to the removal of global chat was the obvious disconnect and rift it created amongst the Clash of Clans community. Whilst potential clanmate candidates were once thought to be easy to access, combined with receiving questionable advice from top players clouding in search of a base to attack, and nowadays you just have to get lucky regarding whether or not a player you invite through the game's inbuilt player search and invitation tool will speak English or your native language. Not only that, but recruiting from a place that wasn't global chat was morphed into an even larger gamble thanks to the fact you couldn't measure someone's activity unless you searched high when regarding trophies, of which members inside of Titans League would most likely struggle for invitation to your newly created level 1 clan in favour of a clan that suits their needs as well as their expectations. Before global chat was removed, there was always an open line of communication between someone you were potentially recruiting that stood beyond your clan description. A lot of being able to invite a clanless player hinged more off your ability to make a first impression that outlasted any other potential elders, co-leaders or leaders wishing to invite people into their clan inside a global chat. Furthermore, generally socialising and talking about things that are related to Clash of Clans was more or less easier, in spite of the fact that the game requires you to type in landscape mode as opposed to portrait mode like some backwards monsters. A lot of fun was to be had from global chat when it came to forging new friendships that could exist irregardless of clan allegiance, and that potential opportunity to meet someone and have a friendly chat with them was now gone. You could quite literally have one of the most deepest and fulfilling conversations you've ever had with a human being via the use of Clash of Clans global chat, or you could have a conversation about something as meaningless as the ergonomics of the Archer Queen's feet. Nobody was there to judge you unless you broke any of the rules, as it was a zone of anarchy that many people ended up cherishing. And so, with its removal, a lot of people felt a great emptiness inside, an emptiness that could have been quelled with the clan member recruitment tool or a Discord server that could direct people to other clans that are in search of members. Part of the game's soul had its lifeline severed, and there wasn't really much the player base could do except release a massive outcry regarding the deletion of global chat. Gone were the days of trolling someone or riling them up, gone were the experiences of the days of old, gone were the philosophical and sometimes random conversations that you could have alongside the pure randomness that global chat provided. Instead, what was left was a shell that made a lot of things core to Clash of Clans extremely hard, especially recruitment. But one thing that was hugely impacted beyond the community spirit, one already referenced, was the fact that recruiting people to join a clan became an arduous impossibility. Now, I'm very much aware that Supercell made countless improvements to the clan search and member search tools that are inside of the game, but it's less about the spirit of the clan or anyone inside the global chat and more about mere metrics. The single elimination of global chat shifted the entire paradigm of Clash of Clans alongside any form of clan that seemed appealing. Nowadays, if you want to have a successful clan, you either have to have 5 alternative accounts, many friends, to be a content creator with their own clan, or to simply get lucky regarding the immensely convoluted algorithm that Clash of Clans possesses in regards to finding worthy candidates to recruit for your clan, as well as suggesting your clan more generally. A good 90% of clans that are established on the daily never grow beyond level 1, and it's all thanks to the shift from a community maintained recruiting experience all the way to something that's purely based on metrics, statistics, how well you performed in war, what your winning streak was, or what your motto was inside of war. Heck, your level meant a lot more, and so did the top few players inside of your clan. Metrics meant a lot more nowadays. It wasn't about the communication or the friendship, it was merely about doing well. The whole philosophy of not judging a book by its cover was completely reversed thanks to the removal of global chat. In its place came a buggy, convoluted, broken and unwelcome mess that completely removed any sense of satisfaction upon use. Instead of recruiting a person, it was more or less seen as recruiting a candidate, nothing more than a number that could be seen as an asset in war when it comes to donating certain valuable items such as siege machines. One of the main points of global chat to begin with, and the reason why it was valued by the community, was the fact that it allowed you to create connections with people and to see them as much more than just a number, even before joining their clan or having them join your own clan. The fact you're unable to do that anymore raised some serious concerns regarding the longevity of Clash of Clans. Although the game is bouncing back remarkably well, the lack of communication between people inside of the game, as well as the utility of clans being nothing more than a place where you fight wars with strangers or contribute to the clan capital or build a Hall 2.0 raids, remains one of the huge gaping holes inside of Supercell's philosophy for Clash of Clans. And it's clear that thanks to the release of a Google document tailored towards Clash of Clans players, or Google Forms for that matter, they need a way to fix the immense communication issue that exists inside the game beyond just bringing back global chat, as that's an impossibility for them. Don't get me wrong, global chat was filled with many issues, including security issues as well as bullying, but communication was key. Trying to treat Clash of Clans like it was a dating app is just a moronic philosophy to adopt, and the lack of any form of complex censorship led to some issues at the time, especially thanks to young children being exposed to the wondrous world of the internet as well as true degeneracy. Without that communication, a lot of invitations fell on deaf ears, and you'd have to be a truly dedicated player to crawl your way out of the depths that happens to be the void of lost invitations or being unable to retain clan members for more than just 2 seconds before they decide to leave to join another clan upon realizing that the atmosphere is filled with dead space and white noise thanks to that aforementioned lack of communication. However, all of this sounds like the removal of one feature that was somewhat significant to the game's communicative capacity. Surely it didn't end up upsetting a massive amount of people, right? Well, you'd be wrong about the amount of people it ended up upsetting, considering many people chose to take a step away from the game, especially those who are aspiring clan leaders or those who are active inside of inactive clans. The sudden player drop created quite the crisis for those who remained to stick around and to instead socialise with their now dying clan. I'm talking about the majority of players who don't have fairly active clans here, not the minority of those who sit inside of Legends League where the clan that doesn't silence itself with how active it is. Supercell's solution to this crisis, as well as to the whole lack of global chat in general, was to create a new recruitment tool for clan leaders, co-leaders and elders to use in order to recruit new people to the clan as opposed to the global chat. If you want to know some statistics here, I actually tried to build a clan back in 2020 when the events of that year were at their peak, and although I managed to build up that clan to level 10, the activity levels and war effort was abysmal to say the least. There was a distinct lack of robustness or reliability within not only the tool but the players you recruited. Sure, you could use the different player badges some people assigned to themselves to describe them as traits to filter through some of the searches, but a lot of these people ended up being inside of clans already, as they just forgot to turn the "I'm searching for a new clan" feature off, leading to an endless list of individuals who were already in clans whilst their names and bases were being advertised as a huge list for people inside of aspiring clans to sift through to no avail. The first revision of this system was a massive catastrophe, to put it mildly. Clan retention rates were abysmal either way. People would often join only to receive donations and to leave, or those people who were still holding extremely high expectations thanks to the way global chat recruitment and the clan algorithm used to work then. Speaking of the clan algorithm, before the removal of global chat, the clan algorithm was much more generous, as Supercell knew that recruiting people through global chat would be a tedious endeavour, and so whenever opening up the clan tab when you weren't in a clan, you'd be given a list of a variety of clans for you to join. These clans weren't held to the arbitrary standards that you see today and were more or less judged by activity as well as present growth, which meant that you most likely end up joining an active clan if you sort through that list. With this new recruitment tool came stricter standards, and the game would attempt to tailor this list to your base as well as your average war performance, the badges you had in your profile, as well as your previous activity within the last 90 days. Say you hadn't played Clash of Clans for a while and you logged on to find a clan. Your odds of finding a clan with some actual activity inside of it were abysmal, to say the very least. I can speak from both sides of the fence regarding being someone who used to play the game in search of a fun and active clan upon returning to the game, as well as someone who now leads their own small yet substantial clan. Recruiting people and actually finding a clan was hell thanks to the implementation of this new system. You would always find people who came back to the game for a few fleeting moments before they decided their time had come and it was time for them to retire from the game for another year. or you would find people who sucked at attacking inside a war. But I think the worst problem that existed with the lack of global chat was the fact that finding people who spoke your native language, especially English, was virtually impossible and a pain in your behind. This problem created outrage for those who wanted to found a clan in which communication was key and attacking accidentally in war was important, considering there's a thick language barrier between English and a lot of other languages that exist out there. I know there are people out there who are looking at this problem inside of the game and probably giving me their best right now, considering their language is a lot more isolated and localized as opposed to being spoken worldwide. But the fact that English is spoken mostly internationally presents a rather conflicting issue when it comes to communication between other clan members, coordinating attacks as well as sharing grand strategies, especially if your clan's native language is themed around English. Oftentimes you would join a clan that has stuff written in English as a description and later find out that people speak either very poorly written English or straight up speak their own native language, which has nothing wrong with that. Whether it be Punjabi, Hindi or Bengali, it was always romanized into something that could be read but never understood by someone who knew how to speak English but nothing else. India also happens to house one of the largest player bases for Clash of Clans. Mix that in with the fact that the clan discovery system was an absolute joke at the time and recruiting people was even harder, meant that communication inside of a new clan, thanks to the lack of global chat, became an impossibility. A fleeting glimpse of hope would be found every now and again, but that player was prone to leaving thanks to nobody speaking English or any form of recognised language that people could understand. I get that this is an issue only the majority of English speaking people has to deal with, but a good majority of people who play Clash of Clans who aren't from India are also native English speakers, which complicated recruitment efforts even further. These complications led to leaders becoming frustrated and choosing to give up on their clans, which led to clans being rapidly vacated, and those vacant clans would go on to die as disgruntled people would leave the game, thanks to the immense amount of frustration caused by this broken and unreliable system. Whenever designing something for a game, communication should be one of the founding pillars for everything and also one of the forthcoming features, but the fact that the game only just got a dedicated section for designating a language for a clan just over a year ago at this point is a massive sign of how much community backlash it took for Supercell to finally get their act together and to update the game with a utility feature that was somewhat useful for people trying to recruit others via clan recruitment. I say somewhat useful, you still encounter people who could barely speak English, but in the end, the system ended up being less tedious than it was when it was implemented at the very beginning of its life cycle. The amount of players this singular update pushed away is probably in the margins of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. Being unable to find a clan inside of a game that's literally named Clash of Clans is a huge issue, and it's a tremendous shame that Supercell took so long to fix it. So, you might be wondering, how does Supercell go about handling a community backlash, and what did they do to end up solving the grand issue that presented itself in the absence of global chat? Truth be told, Supercell hasn't actually mitigated this problem to a positive degree. To this day, finding a clan that suits your needs is almost impossible. The same goes for founding one unless you find yourself sitting in rather unique circumstances. You've just got to settle for what will work, and a lot of aspiring clan leaders have chosen to either settle with people who barely attack but can attack well enough to score 3 stars, or those who will compete in clan games all for the sake of leveling up their clan high enough to recruit some actually competent members. The whole point of a clan is an association of reliable people you can lean on, and the fact that Supercell has done virtually nothing transparent other than implementing really vague and seemingly unremarkable algorithm alterations in the hopes of patching this up with an invisible band-aid really has assisted the Clash of Clans community in coming up with a productive solution to clan recruitment that sits within the game itself. Thankfully, with the introduction of the Capital Hall, even clans at level 2 have a higher chance of being seen as more valuable as people can contribute to capital raids, but that's only a partial solution, and it was more or less an inadvertent one that was brought on thanks to the massive update that will go on to redefine Clash of Clans as a whole and make sure it rises once again. Still, this isn't a permanent solution. There's no real solution for this problem either. I'm just a YouTuber. I don't really know much about Clash of Clans' internal design and operations beyond what I've researched, but it would be really nice to have something similar to Heyday's newspaper system except for clans inside of Clash of Clans, where you can advertise your clan for free or for a small fee of elixir, dark elixir or builder elixirs to recruit people inside of your clan with a basic description of what you're all about inside of something such as a clan recruitment post. That way, people wouldn't have to rely on the adversely high expectations of others regarding people just joining their clan and leaving immediately after taking the temperature of the atmosphere. Not only that, it would make the choices of players of all levels much more valuable, especially if only 10 to 20 clans were shown at the same time from that player to pick from for a small window of time. It would almost guarantee that people wouldn't join a dying or mediocre clan. It would foster clan activity and give off the impression that a clan is active irrespective of their level. The top thing Clash of Clans players want other than a high level clan's activity activity, and whenever there's activity inside of a lower level clan, people are often willing to work for the benefit of eventually leveling up that clan to a high level, to feel as if they contributed to something massive. Even more empowering is the fact that inviting someone can mean something more than merely picking them out from a randomly generated list of people that refreshes itself every 15 minutes. If the searching pool was made slightly smaller, perhaps 30 or 50 people per 15 minutes as opposed to the hundreds you can find themselves scrolling through, this combined with that system of leaders bidding with resources or using their free advertisement opportunity to stick themselves up on a theoretical recruitment poster would bring much more value to a clan than what lies on the surface. I say resources such as Elixir, Dark Elixir and Builder Elixir because I want to specifically limit the use of gems. Sure, gems can be easy to acquire if you play the game right, but I'd rather there be a proposition that doesn't favour the pay to win player, considering Clash Royale is already full of issues emerging from the game's developers virtually milking that game dry until its others are left desolate. Unfortunately, this is just one theoretical proposed solution that I have, but in my mind it works a lot better than the current Wild West alongside the gamble that happens to be the clan matchmaking system that has been imposed ever since global chat was removed. Invites are currently worthless and people can just endlessly refresh the clan tab until they find a clan they wish to join if they have the patience, as it takes hours at a time, especially if the clan they're looking for is perhaps out of their own league at a slight degree, considering not every level 15 clan wants to accept a Town Hall 9 that won't contribute much to their war attacks or efforts. It's a great shame that Supercell has done virtually nothing to aid the players of Clash of Clans regarding the removal of global chat. However, the community of the game have done an amazing job of reviving some dead efforts that I feel as if should be talked about as the conclusion of this video nears. Those community efforts happen to be multiple community websites as well as Discord servers. By the way, I have my own link in the description if you want to join, that manage clan recruitment as well as harbour a positive community. A lot of big clans inside of Clash of Clans utilise the use of Discord servers to keep everyone tightly connected. If anything, it says a lot more about how much Supercell flubbed their efforts to reform global chat into some arbitrary matchmaking system. But believe it or not, you don't have to rely on in-game methods that will lead you to searching for a clan for several hours at a time. Discord bots and servers exist to advertise their clans as well as matchmake based specifically on your statistics and requirements that are automatically pulled from your base ID to tailor some of the best, most active clans possible, featuring a more sophisticated system. Of course, I'd rather not mention any of these resources because I don't want it to be seen as an endorsement or sponsorship of some kind, but a quick YouTube or Google search can go a long way regarding finding yourself a clan. That's if you don't wish to join my own, link is also in the description for that. The fact that a bunch of programmers who don't even work for Supercell yet are passionate about Clash of Clans can create bots as well as systems more sophisticated and interlinked than Supercell themselves is just comedic to me. Imagine having something that broken inside of your game to the point where people have to find loopholes within your own game's recruitment system. These community-made recruitment systems are probably one of the many reasons the game's clan aspect of Clash of Clans are still alive. Naturally, Supercell hasn't been sitting on their hands this whole time. I know throughout this video I've probably made it seem that way, but the Capital Hall update and later Builder Hall 2.0 update somewhat mitigated the massive amount of issues that reared their heads during the removal of global chat, and almost 4 years on from the removal of global chat itself, the game actually seems to be in quite the healthy state, where player counts and relevancy actually on the rise compared to the past 3 years, excluding 2020 for some obvious reasons. I can only hope in due time that they actually manage to implement a system that works well for both the leaders of the clan as well as members. The fact that Supercell recently took a massive polling regarding what people want to see regarding the game's features and mainly clan features is a huge step in the right direction, considering the Clash of Clans development teams are arguably one of the most transparent development teams Supercell has in its arsenal, other than Brawl Stars of course, and they've only improved the game since its launch back in 2013. With community feedback comes resolutions to problems, and I can only hope that by illustrating how much of a difficulty Supercell has made recruitment inside of Clash of Clans thanks to removal of global chat and the introduction of the mess that happens to be the clan recruitment page, that change inevitably comes. It can't be Clash of Clans without prioritising the clans, of course. And with that, this has been Nadevar documenting the worst update Clash of Clans have received and the consequences of that update that echo through to the present. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and may the cosmos shine upon you.